They got it out for this dude. Jonathan Majors, I know. This storyline is a year's worth of smaller stories into a bigger one. Jonathan Majors breaks silence about audio leak admitting he strangled ex-girlfriend. First, I want to give a hand clap to Jonathan Majors' PR team. They have done a fantastic job the last year or so, doing the best they could to help his public image be repaired. Because it's like he pretty much done once his talent agency dropped him and all this other stuff. But man, talk about vindictive. So apparently a leak was an audio leak came out of Jonathan Majors allegedly talking to his ex-girlfriend, the Caucasian chick, saying that he had gassed her. She said, "You choked and did this to me." He said, "Yes, that goes in line with a gas." The fact that someone held this audio for however long and waited until this movie Magazine Dreams was dropping to drop it at the same time to try and destroy any possibility of repairing himself and getting himself back into the light of Hollywood, it clearly shows me that one, somebody in the industry do not want him around. One of these producers, directors, or another actress maybe. Somebody do not want him around. Maybe it's some writer, because the Rolling Stone they're the ones that did the initial hit piece, and then now they're the same ones that released this audio. So maybe it's the female writer at Rolling Stone. But man, to hold on to that right this moment shows that it's not really about justice. It's more about just destroying someone. But to be honest with you, the reaction from the people who were never going to support him was pretty much what you expect. But to the casual person that's not really interested in this story that much, I don't think they care. I think he did an interview with Breakfast Club, which I will play some clips of, where he answered some questions. I don't think as many people cared. I will say this, though. Michael B. Jordan, he just came out and said I want to work with him. That's his brother. He can't wait to have him in what's it called, Creed 4 and all this other stuff. And now we'll see if that if he reneges or not. Then it said, which came first, chicken or the egg? This article or the marriage to Megan? Well, it was announced around the same time, like right after the audio leak came out. The same day, or maybe the next day, him being married to Megan Good was announced. How they were already married. So I don't know if he did that to try and cover the other headline or whatever. Which we kind of understood for the last year what Jonathan Majors and his PR team's plan was. The plan is to ingratiate him with the black audience, particularly the black female audience. They're trying to get him a strong base so that he'll automatically have support. As I always say, in Hollywood, if you're black, you can be wealthy, you can be successful, but you will not be protected and you won't be relevant without a black base. I remember when a few years ago, I bring this up all the time, when Kevin Hart, he's at the top of the comedy industry, he's at the top of the world, and he released a few specials, and a lot of black people were saying, this ain't fun, this ain't funny no more. Kevin lost his funny. And he reacted to that because he knows that in Hollywood, if you're a black person who don't got a lot of black support, it don't matter what your numbers are, how many white people, how many people of other races come out and support you. What is your base? Do they support you? So it's very important. So let me go to this right here. In this, he said, in a recent interview at the Jonathan Majors addresses the leaked audio in which he allegedly admits to assaulting his ex-girlfriend, yada, yada, yada. When asked about the leaked recording, he expressed gratitude for the personal growth. He stated, I was so grateful that I had done my work and continue to do my work. I can't speak to it, but obviously, because you're talking about it, there are vibrations, reverberations, same as everything before, but I was happy I've done my work. So very vague, pretty much didn't try to move around and not acknowledge it as much. But I want to play this clip here from an interview he did with the Breakfast Club. He was asked about a few things. Jonathan Majors says he wants to play Kane the Conqueror again. Let me go to another one first before I get to that one, because I don't think that's ever happened. Let me play this one. Hold on. But this one here, Charlemagne asked him about the former Yale classmates who said that he was emotionally abusive. He gives his reaction to Michael Elliott's hug, yada yada yada. Let me just play a little of this.
Saying that before, that's the game. You know?
I remember, and Lauren, you probably know, but I remember there was an article that came out, and it was just a bunch of different people, saying you were emotionally abusive to them, and verbally abusive, and they worked with you before, and it wasn't a pleasant experience. When that came out, did you ever look at any of that stuff and say, okay, some of that might be justified? I might have been an asshole in that situation.
That article,
Because they were talking about from college days, so you're not the same man. Is what I'm
saying. Yeah. Well, there's some how to come at this one. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. Mm-hmm. Yeah, watch this. As far as I'm just gonna say some facts, okay? About school. And I went to North Carolina School of the Arts, and I also went to Yale. When I was at Yale, I was on a full scholarship. We all were. I was also on a Lloyd Richards scholarship. Our brother Lloyd Richards brought in August Wilson camp, all that stuff. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful man. Rest in peace. I was a recipient of that. When that information happened, when that started being said, that's when I went. That was hard, because I go, this is Yale University. Mm-hmm. Where's the write-up? If all of this is true, where's the write-up? From my administration, from my dean, where is it? That was the only thing in which I got involved, because it was supposed to be family, right? I got involved and went, show me the paperwork. Not my lawyer, I hit my dean and said, show me. Said, no, there's nothing there. I still have the email. You know what I mean?
All right, so I ain't gonna lie. Some of these answers were very... He didn't know how to answer some of these questions. He stuttered a lot with this. I will say this, though. Clearly, he went into the interview willing to answer anything. He's willing to answer anything, and they asked him everything. Charlemagne, of course, is going to be the person that asked him. He did the best he could with that. I don't think this interview means anything at this point. I think the people who are going to be against him will be against him. And like I said earlier, he also brought up the fact, as Virginia brought up the marriage earlier, he brought up that Megan Good took a hit by standing by him, saying that she lost endorsements. She was disinvited from places because they knew he would be there. He would be there with her if she came. And then he said he regret calling a white woman his Coretta. So, yeah. What up, Mark? Then when he came out and said he wants to be Kane the Conqueror, how he sent a letter to the director or whatever, and he brought up Robert Downey Jr. and Jeremy Renner. He brought up Robert Downey Jr. and how these people were regarded a certain way in the industry, and they were able to repair themselves and skyrocket to the top of the industry once again. The main person he should have kept bringing up is that the guy who played Flash. Hold on, let me... What's this guy's name? Hold on, y'all. Yeah, Ezra Miller. That was the main person he probably should have focused on. Maybe he didn't want to compare himself to somebody like Ezra Miller because he was actually accused of sexual assault and a few other things, like actual domestic abuse and stuff. So you don't really want to even compare yourself to somebody who was actually guilty of it. But that should have been the main person he focused on in his comparisons about how the industry treat that person after being found guilty and allow him to continue his role versus him. Now, obviously, the race factor comes in, but don't lean on it too much. At the end of the day, you made a decision to do certain things, and you got caught around the wrong person. It is what it is. I haven't watched the movie yet. It's out in theaters. Magazine Dreams. I might watch it at some point, but I'm gonna see what goes on with him in the next 6 months or so. It's gonna be very interesting, and I want to see this marriage with him and Megan Good. What does that go? But anyway.